Good morning, YouTube. I hope you're having a great day out there in the gun world. Thanks for joining in to see what we have on the table today. If you've looked at my other videos, you've seen the SCT Dagger build that I've done. Got 2 videos up on that. If you haven't seen those already, please go back and watch those. They're around 8 to 10 minutes long each. The initial build and then a follow-up. Give it a thumbs up, a like, subscribe. I plan to do more of these. After building that SCT Dagger, I decided to see if I could venture even further into the budget Glock Clone. Doing some research and continuing with other YouTube videos out there. You have the Anderson Kiger 9C. The Anderson Kiger you can buy as a complete pistol. Purchase it from Anderson, have it shipped to your FFL. Retail on that is around $540, depending on what day you find it for the Pro version. So what I did is, you can see on this particular build, and I'll start as an SCT Frame, St. Croix Tactical SCT 19, which is the same frame the Anderson uses. If you go and look, they are literally purchasing these, rebranding, and selling these. Magazine is clear. Nothing in the chamber. Just to demonstrate safe. This frame has really become more and more popular. They have an SCT 17 frame out there now as well. Not really here to talk about it because there's plenty of video out there already. But as I said, I wanted to see if I could build a cheaper Glock clone. To give you a rundown real quick, purchased this frame from Primary Arms last summer, caught it on sale. It and a lower parts kit out the door was $60.60. That was shipped to my FFL. The Kiger Pro slide and barrel combination was $285.92 shipped. I decided to change it up a little bit, went with the Alpha Timney Trigger. The Alpha Timney Trigger was $108.36. So when you price all of that as configured, I ended up at $454.88. So around $100 cheaper than doing the store-bought Anderson Kiger Pro. The math, when you begin to do it, if you take out that Timney Alpha Trigger, you could actually do this for around $346 if you begin to watch the sales and wait. And that's one of the big things, 2 things in the gun world with ammunition and parts. You buy when you can, not when you have to. And if you don't have to have it right then, shop for the sale. Start watching, wait on it. If there's nothing coming down the legislative agenda that may cause you grief, then if you're willing to wait, you can really pick up some deals at a good price. So this specific build, stuck it together or put it together, and it has really ran as what I would expect. I will point out a few things real quick as we begin to go through here. In my previous video with the SCT Dagger, you can actually see, again, this is a different frame. This discoloration here, that's actually from skin. And to demonstrate what that looks like, let me flip this around and again show you that it is clear. I'm going to flip this around. You can see a little discoloration here, but if I take my thumb and you watch, that's actually skin rubbing off. That shows how textured this actual grip is. It allows you to get a real good firm purchase. It's not overly aggressive where it begins to cause you problems in your hand or spots that are uncomfortable. I will say the rear of this frame does have one sharp edge here, so I have a real high purchase and I can feel it, but it's not digging in that causes discomfort as comparable to any other Glock 19 clone or shooting a standard Glock 19. So when we look at this, a couple things I will note. Dealing with Anderson has been great. A couple of issues that did make themselves evident right away. When the original slide was shipped, it was supposed to have been a complete slide assembly with a barrel. I actually purchased them separately, but in one shipment to save $10 on the barrel. Again, if you shop, you look, you can find those deals, and $10 is $10 no matter how you look at it. But when it arrived, it didn't have a recoil spring. So that delayed me a few days in being able to do what I wanted to do. I immediately reached out, filled out the missing parts form to Anderson, and I believe it was 3 days later I had a recoil spring in the mail. It was delivered to the house. I assembled the slide and we were ready to go. I immediately noticed, as I typically do on the Glock, you see I've got a Glock mat here, I lubed this frame, lubed the slide, typical Glock fashion, being that it is a clone, and it was really, really rough. It seemed to be rougher than most that I've worked with, I've assembled. So I just began to work that slide at home, and over time it began to work out that roughness. Once I had done that enough that I felt comfortable to go to the range and start running it, I started to notice, even before I'd fired it, you can see the little silver on the top of the slide here, top of the barrel. And the finish of that barrel was actually already starting to wear off, and that was before I ever went to the range. It doesn't affect functioning. It doesn't affect how accurate it is, but that was somewhat concerning, being that I had not even fired this pistol yet. But that being said, what do you expect when you're $285 out the door for the complete slide? So I took it to the range, began to shoot. Again, I'm shooting this Timney Alpha Trigger. I'm not here to review it. There's plenty of videos out there. So I was really just trying to get used to that trigger, this whole build, and see how it ran as a gun that had been assembled. It performed fine. Accuracy was great. You can see I actually have the Swamp Fox Justice green red dot on there, or green dot, excuse me, with the Ironsides shield. Again, not going to review it today, but just so you know what you're looking at. And we began to run it. Rounds down range, and somewhere around round 130, 131, I happened to be on target, and I noticed that my front sight was gone. And so I stopped immediately. I began to look down range, I looked behind me, and ended up finding the front sight behind me after it had sheared off. And what had happened is, as it was running as it came from the factory, there was no blue Loctite, nothing on that front sight screw in that post. And so when it backed out, as that slide reciprocated, it actually sheared the bottom of that post, or the rear of that post, off. And I will insert a picture of a side-by-side of the new versus the old so you can see what that looked like. That's one of those things that I really don't want to see happen on a part that I've purchased new. Quality control, I believe, could have been better. But once again, $286, $285.92 out the door. I'm not going to say they're mass producing and sending out junk, because that's not the case. It's a quality product, but someone did not check. I came back in, did a RMA request, and immediately received a response that a new sight was coming out. 2 days later, I had a brand new sight in the mail, and quickly put a little blue Loctite there, installed that front sight, and we are ready to roll again. At this point, we have about 150 rounds downrange. Nothing major. I really want to get to the 500 round mark before I begin to give you any assessment about how dependable it is. I have, you see a Magpul mag here. I've shot it with Magpul, Glock, and KCI magazines. Now, I will say this particular pistol has had a few more failures to feed and issues that than typically I see on a new gun. But I do give it some grace because I assembled it. But I've assembled a lot of Glock pistols. So with a little break-in, we'll see how that goes. I will say, as far as the Timney Alpha Trigger, I will run this till it hits probably 500 rounds or so, and then I will change this parts kit back out for my intended purpose. This was something fun to run. I found it, the Timney Alpha, on Palmetto State Armory's website for $99 and free shipping, I believe it was, there at Christmas or right before. And so took advantage of that deal, and just to see what all the hype was about. But as far as this specific build, I won't leave it there. I will go back to a pretty stock kit. I have another precision defense kit that originally came with this SCT frame when I ordered it from Primary Arms. Overall, I'm pleased with it, with the amount of money that I have invested. However, it's just a moment to be cautious when you think about purchasing something and with the intent of carrying. This is not something at this point that I would stake my life on, that I would carry as a concealed weapon with my permit, or as a home defense gun. At this moment, I'm considering this specifically a range gun and nothing more, until it demonstrates that it has a reliability factor of 500 plus rounds, and then a test of some personal defense ammunition. I will not carry this. It has been fun to shoot. And again, if you're looking to get into the Glock market or Glock Clone market, if you watch sales without the optic, keep that in mind, you could get into this particular build for less than $350. And you really can't beat that as far as having a Glock Clone pistol. I hope this is informative to you. Oh, holsters. I've had a few people asking me about holsters. When looking for holsters for this, there is a few companies. Just search for that Anderson Kiger frame. And so if you have an SCT frame, I would suggest search for Anderson Kiger holsters. I didn't make a note of the companies that I found so far. I have not decided on which one I will purchase. I have a tub full of holsters for Glocks, and this particular frame does not fit well in hardly any of them. So if I find something that works well, I'll jump back on and shoot a short video and kind of tell you what I found. But until then, if you like what you saw, if this was informative, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Once again, I intend to do more of these with some of the resources that I have now working part-time at a gun range. It makes some things available to me where I can actually talk about guns and something that I enjoy. Until then, have a great day. God bless.